Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hey there.
Today, we're diving into some really fresh material. It's the game premiere for Death Stranding 2 on the beach. That just happened, right? June 8th?
Yeah, just the other day. And we've got the transcript, the notes, everything. Think of this as like getting a backstage pass.
Right. Not just about the game, but the thinking behind it.
Exactly. The creator, the cast, the musician, their whole journey.
So that's our mission today. We're going to unpack the key stuff shared there, pull out the surprising bits about themes, how it was made, cool features.
So you walk away really getting what this whole project is about straight from the people making it.
We've got the details right here from the Orpheum Theater event.
Yep. Ready to jump in?
Right. Let's unpack this stack. Where do we start? The man himself.
Let's do it. Start with the creator, Hideo Kojima. He talked about his history, 40 years making games. Quite a milestone.
40 years, wow.
Yeah. But he said this one, Death Stranding 2, felt special to him somehow.
Okay, special how? Did he elaborate on that?
He did, yeah. He went straight into the impact of the COVID pandemic, which was pretty significant for him personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he revealed he actually got quite sick himself during that time. And he had this moment where he genuinely thought, he might not live to finish the game.
Wow, that's intense. That certainly puts a different spin on things.
Definitely. And it kind of underlined why this project felt so personal, I think. And then there was the timing, right? The first Death Stranding was all about connecting a divided world.
And suddenly, boom, we're all living that in a way.
Exactly. He said it became this little reality. We were all separated, relying on, Zoom calls and emails, digital connection.
But he saw a downside, too.
Right. He felt that while we were connecting digitally, we were also forgetting about what he called analog connection, actually meeting people, being physically present. That difference really stuck with him.
And this is where it gets kind of nuts, right? The original idea for the sequel.
Gone. He completely scratched it, threw it out. He decided he needed to rewrite the entire thing, specifically because of the pandemic experience.
Seriously. A whole rewrite.
Yep. He felt the game needed to be about a new kind of connection, one that comes after that global isolation. Not just continuing the old story, but reflecting this new shared reality we all went through.
So he basically came up with two different game concepts for DS2. That's a huge decision.
It really is. Makes you wonder how many other creative things were shifted by that time. He also talked a bit about LA, Los Angeles.
Right. LA was important for this game.
Yeah, in a few ways. It's where they announced DS2, remember, at the Game Awards back in 2022.
Oh, right.
And it was a key spot for all the performance capture work they do, which is, a huge part of these games.
And he has a personal thing for LA too, doesn't he? Like, from childhood.
Yeah, totally. He mentioned loving old LA dramas like Chips and Starsky and Hutch, even joked he dreamed of being an LAPD homicide detective back then.
Huh. Well, the storytelling bug, bit early. Just maybe a different kind of story now.
For sure. And speaking of the game, Jeff Cayley, who hosted the premiere, he's actually played a chunk of it.
Did he say what he thought?
Yeah, he put in over 20 hours, called it spectacular, said it takes the DS1 ideas to the next level, refines everything. Sounds promising.
High praise indeed. They also showed some new art. A poster.
Uh-huh. New poster by Pablo Uchida, who did one for the first game, too. Looked pretty different.
Is that the box art?
No, they clarified that. This new art is more for, marketing stuff, novel covers, promotional posters. The actual game package will still be Sam and Lou.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's the creator's perspective, big picture stuff.
Yeah.
What about the performers, the cast?
Right, they had some key people there. Shioli Kutsuna, who plays Rainey. Troy Baker, back as Higgs, of course.
Can't forget Higgs.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Wood Kid, who did the music, and Elle Fanning, who plays Tomorrow. She joined by video.
Let's start with Shioli Kutsuna or Rainey. How did she get involved? Sounds like a cool story.
It was. Apparently, it just started with a text from her friend Rinko Kikuchi, the actress.
Yeah.
That led to a meeting at Kojima Productions, and boom, there was already artwork of her character waiting for her.
Wow. And Kojima had specific reasons for casting her.
Very specific. He really wanted a Japanese character, but he mentioned that getting CG for Asian faces just right can be tricky. So he needed someone talented, obviously, but also someone who could speak native English and native Japanese fluently.
That narrows it down.
Right. He apparently got her contact through another friend, someone called Dinkoi, who was kind of surprised Kojima was asking for her details.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, moving to Troy Baker. Higgs. He's got history with
Oh,
Kojima.
yeah, way back to Metal Gear, then DS1.
Yeah.
He talked about coming back to Higgs 5 years later, said he's seen the community just explode. Their support is voracious, he called it, especially the cosplay. He mentioned seeing some next-level Higgs cosplay.
I bet. People loved Higgs.
Totally. He felt that story, that message really hit home. But he also said doing the scenes for DS2 was, like, a real challenge. He wasn't always sure he could nail every scene.
Thought rewarding.
Immensely, he said. Huge pride. He was grateful to get to unpack some parts of Higgs more, explore his character further, and work with Lea Seydoux again, too, as Fragile.
And he teased things a bit.
Oh, yeah. Said their goal isn't just to meet expectations, but to, quote, blow past those expectations.
Nice. And then there was that surprising detail about his singing.
Right. Get this. Kojima apparently saw Troy's YouTube channel during the pandemic, saw him singing, and was really moved by it, realized, hey, this guy can sing, like, really well.
So he put it in the game.
Yep. He asked the artist, Yoji Shinkawa, to design a specific guitar just for Higgs.
No way.
And now, Kojima says, Higgs is constantly singing in the game.
That's amazing. And that famous line from the trailer.
Sam the man! Same as it ever was. Yeah, Troy said that wasn't even scripted. It was just something he threw out during rehearsal, inspired by Talking Heads. He figured they'd cut it.
But Kojima heard it.
And loved it. So that's it. Instantly knew it had to stay. Classic Kojima moment.
Love that. Okay, and Elle Fanning? She plays tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. They showed the first gameplay clip, which featured her in a scene with Shioli's character, Rainey.
What did we learn about her?
Well, Kojima described her as a mystery character, got special abilities, definitely seems more action-focused. He even said she's stronger than Sam.
Stronger than Sam. Okay, and her abilities are weird.
Oh, yeah. The specific one they revealed, she has cars coming out from her body.
What, cars?
Cars coming out of her body. Apparently they, like, precede time when something touches her. It sounds completely bizarre.
Okay, cars coming out of her body. Definitely Death Stranding. Got to see how that works. Let's shift to the sound then. Music's huge in these games. Woodkid, Johan Lemoyne, right?
Exactly. And their collaboration started kind of small, actually, with the director's cut of the first game. Kojima used a couple of Woodkid songs from his second album.
Woodkid must have been thrilled.
Oh, he said it was a dream come true. He grew up playing Kojima's games, but for DS2, it got way deeper. Kojima called him during the pandemic, said he wanted to work differently. Meaning, Woodkid wasn't just licensing tracks, he was writing music specifically for the game from the ground up. It was such a big commitment. Woodkid actually moved to Japan after lockdown ended just to work right there in the Kojima Productions offices.
Wow. Embedded in the studio.
Pretty much. He described the setup Kojima gave him, his own dedicated room right next to his own office. Woodkid called it Jan's room.
Jan's room.
And Kojima would just, like, pop in regularly. Hey, what's your new song? Listen to stuff. Apparently, Kojima even joined Woodkid and his personal trainer for stretching sometimes.
That's unique.
Woodkid called it a strange relationship, but laughed, said it was totally consensual and really productive.
Well, it shows how much Kojima values music. He has that quote, right? Like 80%.
Yeah, something like that. He feels music, sound effects, even silence. They're maybe 80% of the experience. Crucial for immersion, emotion, sometimes saying more than words.
And for DS2, they're doing something really different with how music works. This procedural system.
Right. This is pretty fascinating. It's not just, changing tracks at set points. The music is apparently completely procedurally rebuilt by the engine in real time.
So the game is composing the music as you play, based on what you do.
That's the idea. It evolves based on your actions, where you are, what's happening in the gameplay. Woodkid called it a very nerdy approach.
Sounds complex.
He said it involved, like, reverse engineering tracks, using music theory, building these samplers so the harmony and rhythm literally change based on what the player does. Super difficult, he said, almost like creating an autoplay system for the score.
Did they show how it works?
Yeah, in the gameplay demo. When the player started running, you heard drums kick in. Player stopped. Drums stopped. They wandered off the main path onto some different ground. The music shifted, became more strings and piano, back towards the objective. Rhythm and melody came back in.
So my soundtrack could sound different from yours.
Potentially, yeah. Depends on the routes you take, the actions you perform. Kojima made a point to thank Woodkid for taking on such a tough job. They also talk specific songs. There's one called To the Wilder.
Right, that was the lead single idea from Kojima. Woodkid read the script, and this idea of wilderness, not just the landscape, but maybe a person too, came to him pretty fast. Kojima liked the lyrics, even though Woodkid thought they were a bit random.
And he made themes for characters, too.
Yeah, like rough drafts. He went
Right.
the theme for Rainy, for example. And Kojima would actually use those draft songs on the motion capture set.
To help the actors.
Exactly. Play Rainy's theme during her scene to help Shioli get into that emotional space. Pretty cool integration.
And there was another track, Tomorrow, for Elle Fanning's character.
Yep, for her action scene. Woodkid described its sound as, wait for it, industrial breadcore. Industrial breadcore. Okay.
You know, right? So the composition was partly randomized, and Kojima just kept pushing him, more crazy, more crazy.
Sounds about right. And the big news was the soundtrack album itself.
Huge news. Woodkid announced it's coming out before the game, June 13th. Game's out June 26th.
Oh, interesting. So you can hear the music first.
Yeah. It's a collection, obviously condensing the, hours and hours of potential procedural music into something listenable. 2 vinyls and a digital release. Pre-orders are up now.
And a couple of really intriguing reveals about that album.
Right. First, one track features someone called Hideo Kojima. Woodkid said it's his favorite track on the album.
Kojima's on the album, singing, producing. Who knows?
We'll have to wait and see. And the second big thing, there's another version of To the Wilder, but this one features Elle Fanning singing.
Elle Fanning sings.
Apparently so. Kojima wanted her to after seeing her perform Nirvana's Teen Spirit somewhere, and Woodkid actually knew Elle already. They'd sung together years ago at the Montreux Jazz Festival.
Small world.
Totally. Woodkid said her voice is amazing, and her take on the lyrics just completely changed the song's meaning for him. So multiple versions of To the Wilder on the album.
And that song is important to the game, too.
Seems like it. Kojima said it plays a lot, and at one point it's really emotional. Said it'll make liquids come out from your body.
Classic Kojima. Tears, presumably.
You'd hope so. He really pushed pre-ordering the album, especially the vinyl. Called it limited and beautiful.
Okay, vision, cast, music. Let's get to the gameplay. They showed some live.
They did. Yoshihei Kataoka from the TJP team played it live on a PS5 Pro. Looked a bit nervous, but Kojima said he practiced a ton.
What did they show first?
The very beginning, like the literal first 5 minutes. Setting is the border between Mexico and the UCA. It's 11 months after the first game ended. Sam's living on his own, still delivering packages, and Lou is with him, now 11 months old.
Oh. So this is the tutorial.
Yep. Just learning the basic controls, camera, movement, that stuff. It's open world. Right away, Kojima said you can go anywhere. First mission is just go back to your hideout. Simple stuff.
And you could hear the music changing.
Oh, yeah. Clear as day. As Kataoka moved, stopped, changed direction, you could hear the music adapt, just like Woodkid described.
Cool. Then they showed something new. World changes.
Yeah, this sounded like a big new feature. The map can change in real time because of natural disasters.
Like randomly.
It seemed like it. They showed a small earthquake, then a big one, where the player had to physically stop and use the controls to keep Sam balanced.
And Lou reacted.
Totally. Lou started crying, scared by the quake. And they showed the controller motion needed to soothe her, so that mechanic is definitely still there.
And these disasters have consequences.
Big time. Earthquakes can apparently make areas totally inaccessible, block paths. You'd have to find another way around.
What else? Did they mention other disasters?
Yeah, things like avalanches in snowy areas, floods, even forest fires. Sounds like the world itself is going to be much more dynamic and, frankly, dangerous.
Adds a whole new layer to just getting from A to B. Okay, after the intro, they jumped ahead, showed some action.
They did. Skipped forward to what Kojima called an action scene. He jokes that watching deliveries can be boring even if playing is fun, so they wanted to show some combat.
Where was this scene set? Looked pretty wild.
It was described as an unknown world, themed around fire. There were fireworks, lava that seemed connected to whales somehow, ghostly figures walking around. Very surreal.
And these.
Yep, these warriors guarding a character named Neil.
Did they have to fight? Or is stealth still an option?
They showed going in guns blazing kind of through the middle, but Kojima specifically said you could avoid battles, you could do stealth play, so options are there.
What weapons did we see?
Let's see. The blood boomerang uses Sam's blood, comes back. That looked cool.
The what cannon? Tar cannon.
Yeah, the tar cannon. Looked heavy, puts out fires, but you can use it as a weapon too. They also flashed the equipment screen quickly.
Anything interesting there?
Lots of customization. Different caps, you can wear them backwards like Norman Reedus does. Backpack stuff, backplates, rotor storage, grenade pouches, that anti-gravity thing to help with weight, and customizable colors for gear.
Combat moves.
Saw a stealth takedown with a rope, Standard stuff like assault rifles, grenades, shotguns. Oh, and a grenade pistol small goes in a holster. Kojima called it a little cheating or not cool, playfully.
Uh, Tactics in the fight.
Aiming for headshots on the warriors, Neil kept warping away, using the Eldredex scanner to find enemies, using Sam's voice, like shouting to distract enemies, using crypto bites to heal up.
Standard shooter stuff mixed with Death Stranding mechanics was the goal.
Just defeat Neil and his warriors. Kojima said it looked like a difficult part, told the audience to pray for the player. The final bit was a face-off with Neil in this sort of graveyard area.
And then came the big line, right, after Neil was beaten.
Yeah, the narrator in the game asks this really loaded question. Did he say their father? Is he implying this is some sort of realm for the Enlightenment?
Whoa, father. Enlightenment.
And right there, Kojima cuts it off. Up to here, no more. Just leaves you hanging with that massive tease about Neil's identity and the nature of wherever they were fighting.
Okay, my head's spinning. But even with all that action, Kojima brought it back.
He did. Made a point to reiterate. Bottom line, this is still a delivery game. It's about connecting the world. The action, the stealth, the weapons. They're additions, options, but the core is still that strand, that connection.
How did the others react to seeing this gameplay? Shioli.
Shioli said it was her first time seeing actual game footage, thought it was awesome. But she also admitted she's not great at games, said she'll need a friend to help her play it.
Huh. Troy Baker.
Troy loved seeing it come together. Compared the polished game to the performance capture process, calling them just a bunch of goofballs in performance capture suits. Said the game is always better than the movie in my head and basically wanted to grab the controller right then and play.
And Woodkid.
He thought the finished sequence was so dope. He had seen early builds like maybe 20–40% done, but was super impressed seeing the stealth and everything finalized. He joked that Kojima actually showed nothing compared to the whole game.
High praise all around then.
Yeah.
So, wrapping up the event, the key details. Release date.
Confirmed. Death Stranding 2 on the beach, June 26th, exclusively on PlayStation 5. Pre-orders are live.
And the soundtrack.
June 13th, get your ears ready before your thumbs.
Kojima also announced a tour.
Yeah, a World's Grand Tour starting after the game comes out, hitting Sydney, Tokyo for a launch event, Paris, London, other spots in Asia through the year.
Ambitious.
And part of that includes an orchestra Death Stranding tour. He hinted musicians like Woodkid might join for those live orchestral performances. Gonna be a busy year, he said.
Sounds like it. They finished with some final thoughts from the guests.
Yeah, some really nice moments. Woodkid thanked Kojima for the creative freedom, for kind of connecting with his darkness in the music. And he specifically thanked him for giving music so much CPU allowance, like technical resources. Said music usually gets the short end of the stick in game dev.
That's insightful. Troy.
Troy got a bit personal. Recalled Kojima promising him, like over 10 years ago, a great role in a great game. Thanked him for delivering on that promise twice now. Called Kojima one of the most loyal, upstanding guys out there.
Nice. And Shioli.
For her, this was a first time doing this kind of performance capture and ADR. She felt Kojima really understands what we go through as actors. Mentioned again how using the music on set helped. Said some ADR sessions were so emotional with the story and music, she almost cried. Just felt beyond imagination and was incredibly proud.
Sounds like a powerful experience for everyone involved.
And Elle Fanning chimed in with one last video message, just excited for players to see tomorrow and play the game.
Okay, so let's distill this. We've gone through the whole premiere. What's the big picture takeaway from this deep dive?
Well, first off, it's clear this isn't just Death Stranding 1.5. The pandemic fundamentally reshaped its core idea. It's a game born from and wrestling with that shared global experience of isolation and reconnection.
And that personal vision seems to have driven everything. The specific casting choices, like finding someone bilingual like Shioli or incorporating Troy's singing.
Right, and pushing the tech, too. That procedural music system sounds genuinely innovative, trying to weave the score into the gameplay moment by moment. Same with the real-time world changes from disasters.
But even with more action, more threats, more systems, the message kept coming back to connection.
Exactly. Both in the story, Sam's still trying to bridge divides, and in how the game was made, the collaboration between Kojima, the actors, the musician. It's all about strands, right?
So it sounds like a sequel, trying to be both mechanically deeper and thematically relevant to our very recent history, trying to make sense of the post-pandemic world through its gameplay and story.
Yeah. And here's maybe the most provocative thought to chew on. Kojima specifically said he rewrote it because of the post-pandemic experience. Then you have that cryptic line in the gameplay. Did he say, their father, realm for the Enlightenment?
Hmm. Where are you going with this?
Well, what might DS2 really be saying about the future of connection? Now that we've lived through that intense isolation and maybe rely even more on digital ties, is it hopeful? Is it cautionary? That hint about Neil maybe being some kind of father in a place of enlightenment, it really makes you wonder what kind of answers or questions this game will leave us with when it lands on June 26th. Gives you something to think about, doesn't it?